Welcome to our talk on the thyroid that is part of the endocrine system. I had a lovely time talking to people over the weekend. We were at Namaskar Wellness Hub on Saturday. It was lovely meeting everyone that was there. Thank you for coming out. It was also a wonderful experience by the Wellness Hub at the Rosebank Sunday Market. This happens once every 3 months, that all these wellness hub stalls come together and they have this beautiful platform with speakers and demonstrations and stalls really focused on all over wellness and bettership and healing. So that was great, and I have recordings of both. I felt, for the purpose of communicating about the thyroid, I am going to do a re-recording for everyone that's interested in the topic, just making sure that I cover all the bases and just give you a good quality experience. So welcome to our personal recording over here. I hope you find the information that resonates with you and equip you to really heal all of your body, but especially then if you are suffering from malfunctioning thyroid, parathyroid, to really heal that and sort that out for yourselves. So my name is Elaine. I refer to myself as a detox specialist because of what I do. I facilitate detoxes for people online. After I was introduced to the amazing radical healing experience that fruit brings, I just couldn't be quiet. I became the biggest prophet for it out there. And I've just been helping so many people since then. I have seen so many miracles. I've seen how you can only do it for yourself. No one can do it for you. You can't do it for a loved one, even if you want to do it so much. It's so a self journey to actually change the sustenance that comes into your life. So those that do not know, I'm going to just quickly drop in there that this radical healing protocol I will be referring to the whole time is when you switch to eating only fruits for as long as it takes to heal you, or then if you are one of those brave ones to live on fruits for the rest of your life, as our body has been designed to do, then you will definitely harvest the fruits of that too. For the rest of us that still really would like to partake in food and social setups and stuff that we find resonance with that falls outside the category of fruits, we can dive into this healing protocol every now and then, clean our bodies, and then find a sustainable way of, or balanced way with other foods that doesn't bring too much damage, and then every now and then immerse ourselves again with fruits. Just so you know, that's out there. We're going to speak more about this when we get to the solution. So what I want to do now is I'm going to just go into the big picture of the endocrine system and where it fits in. Then we're going to spend some time on the chemistry that the glands in the endocrine system supply, so you get the bigger picture of that. We're going to focus a little bit on the thyroid and parathyroid, specifically their functions, what can go wrong in your body if they are malfunctioning. We're going to spend some time on why these will malfunction. There's a few reasons behind that, and then we're going to spend some time on the solution. I'm also going to share, as part of the solution, some of the products I've designed to support the healing of the thyroid, and then also the programs that runs online that could possibly support you to do this thing. So the bigger picture of the endocrine system. In the East, they are called chakras, our energy centers. In the West, they are called glands. That is how close the chakras and the glands actually are in the understanding of the functions they perform. So when you study chakras and the functionality of each of the main 7 chakras of the body, of the central column of the body, you can keep in mind that each of that chakras is connected to a gland, and that these glands technically then have the qualities of the chakra they're connected with, as well as having their biochemistry, their physical influence on the body, governing certain glands and systems, and we're going to see the connection between all of those. So let's run through the chakras quickly. We've got our crown chakra. This is our main chakra, receiving life force and translating it for the other chakras. Not that the other chakras are not receiving life force as well, but there is this understanding that there's a main column of life force entering in and our north side of our body and exiting south side, and entering from the earth into our south side, exiting north side. This loop that transpires. The crown chakra is connected to the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is a pea-sized gland, the top of my pinky, that is at the bottom of the hypothalamus in the brain. So it's in the center there. If you were to put sticks through right there in the center where they connect, that's more or less where the pituitary gland is. It's a really tiny gland. There are schools of thought that actually think it is the hypothalamus that instructs the pituitary gland, but we tend to understand that it's the glands in the body that instructs or governs the other parts of the body. Since the glands in the body, endocrine glands, are the only glands that are producing chemistry for the rest of the body. The rest of the organs that produce chemistry are for their own functionality. So the stomach would produce pepsins for the digestion that's happening within the stomach, and the liver would produce chemistry that it's using it for while it's doing its function as a liver. And while the glands are actually endocrine glands, are actually producing chemistry that goes into the blood, into the system, and are there to govern and bring change in the rest of the body. So it really does govern and serve the rest of the body, a good government, that actually serves the cells of the body. So the pituitary gland is connected to the crown chakra and connected to the hypothalamus, literally instructing the hypothalamus, which is the brain, which is the main one of your nervous system, which is the main one of your personality. It's so much that the nerve system actually does for you, that the brain is such a big part of, which is governed by this pea-sized gland. So the reason why the chakras and the glands communicate so nicely with each other is the chakras are literally, in my understanding, the most physical part of your spiritual body. It is the grid of your spiritual body that is ready now to plug in with the physical body. And the glands is the most spiritual part of your physical body. So this is the grid in the physical body side that connects with the energy centers in the spiritual body. So physics become biochemistry. So electromagnetic frequency becomes translated and received by the glands, which then translated into biochemistry, which is the chemistry then it produces to serve the rest of the body. So our second gland is our pineal gland, which is connected to our third eye, and in organs wise it's connected to our vision, not just our third dimensional vision, which is our eyesight, but also our dream space. It governs our sleep cycles with the hormone that produces melanin. And this is very important for high energy levels. If you don't sleep well, you will also lack in energy. So all these energy centers really has to do with the energy you experience at the end of the day. Then we've got our throat chakra. This one is connected to our thyroid, and parathyroid is like butterfly shape sitting over there, and the parathyroid glands are sitting on top of the thyroid glands. The thyroid gland is connected to your skin, which is your biggest elimination organ, your biggest organ, and happens to be an elimination organ. It eliminates a lot of gas of your lymphatic system. And then we've got our heart space, our heart chakra. This is connected to our thymus gland. Our thymus gland being they actually know very little of the thymus glands. They're very much still finding out the functionality of the thymus glands. One thing they do know is it plays a huge role in maturing your fighter cells. So it's kind of like the general of your immune response, your immune system, which is in your heart space here. The next one up is your solar plexus, which is very much your digestion of life, connected to your pancreas, which is then connected to the digestive system. Your solar plexus is the neck chakra. This is connected to your ovaries and testes, which is connected to reproductive cycles, also very much determining the part of your personality that is the sexuality part of your personality. There are many layers to the personality, and the sacral chakra, or your ovaries, testes, and the hormone balancing that part of your body very much determines your personality and around your sexuality. Then we've got our root chakra. This is connected to our adrenal glands, and our adrenal glands are right on top of the kidneys. So they actually govern the kidneys, which is one of our very big elimination organs. There are really only 4 elimination organs: your kidneys, your 2 kidneys, your skin, and your lungs. This is actually the only 4 proper elimination organs. You also have your bowel, that about 20% of your lymph could leave via your bowel. And those are the 4 organs that eliminate towards the external life out there, which makes them the only elimination organs we've got. The liver sometimes are seen as a detox organ, which is not completely incorrect, but because it doesn't have an exit to the outside world, it is not an elimination organ. So it might play a role in transmuting certain toxins, which could give it the role of a detox organ, but it has many other functions as well. So those are our 4 main elimination organs. So that gives you a bigger picture of the glands, how they fit in with the etheric body and the physical body, and how important it is then for them to be in a good functioning space. Because it doesn't matter how clear your spirit body is, if it is received by glands that is congested and that is weak and malfunctioning, these glands will not be able to translate the full message into biochemistry that can serve your body. So a lot of who you are, a lot of your experience on this planet will be determined on the ability that these glands have to translate the life force message that's entering your body and serve the rest of the body to produce the correct chemistry to serve it well. Let's look a little bit at this chemistry. There's 4 main categories of different chemistries that the glands produce for the body. Neurotransmitters are the first one. So neurotransmitters are really for the nervous system what the blood is for the circulatory system. You need plenty of it to have a strong nervous system. If you have a low blood pressure most of your life, this is a very clear sign that your glands are malfunctioning. You've got a low functioning gland, adrenal gland specifically. This means that all the possible neurotransmitters that the adrenals can produce will only be able to be produced to the level of functioning of the adrenals. So over your lifetime of low adrenal functioning, you will build up a deficit of neurotransmitters. And this is where conditions like your Parkinson's, MS, many other, your bipolars, your schizophrenia, all of those chemistry imbalance conditions basically sprouts into either hormones or neurotransmitters not being produced in sufficient amounts or in a balanced way, which is why it becomes so scary when people start ingesting hormones or neurotransmitters or enzymes or whatever chemistry should have been produced by a gland. The solution is not to now ingest that chemistry from externally. This will throw your body out of whack in a whole new way and bring imbalances and dystrophy to the actual glands. If the glands are not in the position to be able to produce the neurotransmitters, for instance, because you're actually now getting it from an external source, it actually is breaking down further. So instead of fixing the solution or fixing the problem, bringing a solution like fixing the glands, you're not actually ingesting the hormones or neurotransmitters or steroids or enzymes that the glands would have been producing. And this is not a good idea. So just quickly, examples of neurotransmitters is your adrenaline, noradrenaline, dopamine. That is just to name a few that you've heard before. Adrenal specifically producing dopamine, and so many times we will stimulate our adrenals to produce the chemistry we want it to produce so that we can feel better and more energized. How do we stimulate it? We stimulate it with stimulating foods and drinks. This will include all your soft drinks, your caffeine drinks, your sugar drinks, your complex sugars, starches, your meat, especially meat that's been slaughtered in the mainstream way. So there is a lot of adrenaline in the meat. So now you're actually ingesting this neurotransmitter by ingesting the meat, which is also very stimulating to the adrenals. So now we work on stimulated energy. We push the adrenals in red to give us more energy, more chemistry that we want. What happens? We've got more chemistry and then we fall and we've got this vacuum of energy again, which is the next reason why we then want to consume more of the stimulating food. So this is stimulated energy. We don't want to run our body on stimulated energy. This is eventually going to break down our system. You can't drive a car in red and expect it not to break down. So on the other side of energy spectrum, we want dynamic energy. And dynamic energy is when You've healed every cell in your body and it's completely filled with energy to the max. Now you're sitting with dynamic energy. Now you will be able to run marathons without practicing, without eating, for the stimulation of the energy you need. You will actually have energy for days to do what you need to do. This will give you a much better quality life on this planet. You will just be a better person. You'll be the best person that you can be. Your best part of your personality would have time to actually flourish and grow, because you're not bogged down, you're not tired, you're not up and down the whole time. You're actually on this steady pace of dynamic energy, really being the host of between 75 to 100 trillion very healthy and robust, energized cells. So that's neurotransmitters. Hormones are one of the chemicals that our glands produce. These are literally to instruct things to happen in our body. Let's use examples. The pituitary gland produces thyroid stimulating hormones to stimulate the thyroid to produce T3s and then later to be converted to T4s. So the thyroid and the adrenals produce the hormones for the ovaries to go over into action to actually ovulate and give you a chance of becoming a mommy if you want to become one. And that's just two examples. There's so many functions in our body that needs hormones to be excreted. Oxytocin, serotonin, melatonin, all of these are hormones that you hear on people's lips so much. So many people ingest these or get addicted to herbs that produce more of these, which is also a way of stimulating your glands to produce more. In the meantime, you really want to heal your gland so that it produces sufficient hormones. Another chemical produces steroids. This is mostly produced by the adrenals. Again, they have a tough time to decide which gland is the most important. Our P-size pituitary gland, which is seen as the master computer, or the actual adrenal glands that has so many functions that it fulfills. So steroids are a cholesterol-based substance, but different than cholesterol, it actually has a way of chemically connecting with inflammation with acid that's interstitial, that's in between your cells. It actually transmutes it. So the ash of the inflammation left after in contact with steroids are less than the actual volume of inflammation you had before. So this makes volume interstitially less. Well, if you now have low adrenal function your whole life and you're building up this deficit of steroids, your body cannot act when you are experiencing acidosis, when you're experiencing interstitial acidity. So now your body will use some other ways to actually combat this, and all these other ways, different than steroids, doesn't change the chemistry of the acidity. It simply packs itself around the acids or around your membranes to protect it from the acids. So all of the other ways that your body responds with inflammation then plaque your cavities to such a way that your low blood pressure eventually becomes a high blood pressure because of the cavities being so plaqued up by cholesterol produced by the liver to combat the acids, or water retention. Your body can also make use of water retention to pack these acids, pack around these acids, or then leaching calcium. Now this is a biggie. We're going to get to the thyroid and parathyroid just now and the importance of it, but the parathyroid glands on your thyroid produce a parathyroid hormone for your body to be able to utilize calcium. So if you don't have enough of this parathyroid hormone because your parathyroid is congested or weak and it cannot produce enough, there's not enough of that parathyroid hormone going to be around, and you are going to be calcium deficient. Now the answer out there is take more calcium supplements, right? But what would that help if you don't have enough of the parathyroid hormone to actually utilize the calcium? Now the excessive calcium is going to drift around in your body and actually calcify into stones, which is the last thing you want. This is where bone spurs come from and that kind of thing. So it's really important to not reach to external supplementation to fix a problem, but to actually ask yourself, what is the cause of this imbalance? What is the cause of this problem? And then sort yourself out fixing that cause. So the fourth way of combating inflammation is when your body actually leach calcium from the body matrix, from your bones and skin and connective tissue and that have a host of cascading effects that we'll look at in a little bit. So that's steroids produced by the adrenals. The next one is enzymes. So this is just as crucial. So I'm going to explain enzymes a little bit with an example. If I am a liver cell sitting here on the right side of the body, I want certain minerals to build myself up. So I scan myself and I decide I need, above and beyond my sugar for my fuel, I want iron, I want copper, and I want calcium to rebuild myself, to regenerate. So now I am going to start looking out for the two enzymes that the adrenals produce for iron and copper. The moment I see them, I'm pulling them to me and they become attached to me. They're like antennas. They're like sitting there, basically communicating to the body, I want iron and copper. I'm also going to be on the lookout for parathyroid hormone, but I can't find one. So then the host eats. Who's the host? I'm the host. I'm the host of between a 75 to 100 trillion cells. All of these cells have consciousness of their own. They have made a decision to manifest as a cell of me, of my collective physical body on this planet while I am manifesting here. And I'm the host. So this host that I am is a food processor. I am going to ingest food, and this food is going to be processed to become fuel and minerals for my cells. So there's 4 steps in the food processing system. There's digestive process, and this is the breakdown process. I can go into detail with this. There's an acidic breakdown process, and there's an alkaline breakdown process. We want to make sure to mostly make use of the alkaline breakdown process so that we don't have too much acidity or acid ash in our body. That's a conversation for another day. The next step is the absorption process. So after things have been broken down into usable pieces and nutrition and sugars, it now has to go through the wall of my bowel and my intestines successfully to enter my system, and my system inside shouldn't be so congested that the nutrients actually can't reach the cells either. So there's a double side of absorption. Then there comes utilization, and this is the example I'm busy talking about. So now we've got this liver cell. It's got an enzyme attached to it that's causing iron. It's got an enzyme attached to it that's causing copper, and it still can't find the parathyroid hormone for calcium. So now the host eats, digestion is successful enough, absorption is successful enough. Here comes the iron. What happens? The iron are magnetized to the enzyme attached to the cell. Here comes the copper. It's magnetized to the enzyme that's attached to the cell, and this becomes the portal, almost pulling it through into the constituency of the cell. And at last, there's not enough parathyroid hormone around. So here comes calcium, and there goes calcium. It's right past me. It is going to not be able to utilize calcium even if I wanted to. So this is basically what enzymes does for the body. The thyroid plays a huge role in this, supplying enzymes as well as making sure that you have a warm enough or the perfect temperature for enzymes to work. If you're too hot, the enzymes might not work. If you're too cold, some of the enzymes functioning will not actually work, because it's also chemistry that takes place. So those are the 4 chemicals produced by different glands over the body. Just to give an idea, 75% of conditions going wrong in the human body is written down to the malfunctioning of glands because of those 4 categories of chemistry, which is so important for the body to have. 75% of conditions out there boils down to malfunctioning glands. Let's look a little bit just at the top of my head. Malfunctioning adrenals will bring about fibromyalgia, endometriosis, MS, Parkinson's, thyroid weakening will be, actually I want to read this out to you since this is the focus of our talk, is the thyroids and parathyroids. Basically, thyroid, when there's thyroid weakening or failure, the following will show up: obesity. And if you are in a situation where your pancreas are not functioning well, you might actually be skinny while you have a malfunctioning thyroid. So then you have to have 2 things to sort out to fix that problem. Low metabolism can give you poor digestion as well. So because of the heat element of the skin, the temperature regulation of the body that the thyroid plays, it plays a big role in both digestion and metabolization. Low body temperature, cold extremities, when you have cold hands and feet, that is clear sign of a malfunctioning thyroid. If you have intolerance for cold as well, hair loss and balding has a direct because of the calcium role as well. Failure to sweat properly, affecting skin elimination, and this then brings around the dry skin and all your eczemas and other skin conditions that you can get. For skin conditions, there's a bit of a trio that happens. You have the skin, the thyroid, and the liver playing a role with skin conditions. Now listen to this, and this is almost never spoken about in the mainstream medicine out there, is the functioning of our parathyroids, which are the glands on top of our thyroids. So calcium requires a parathyroid hormone so it can be utilized properly by your body. Failure to utilize calcium results in. So this is the document I'm going to send to you when I send you this video as well. So you'll have this information with you. Bone loss, which brings around osteoporosis, spinal deterioration, herniated discs. Bone or calcium spurs. This is when there's too much calcium in your body and that it cannot be utilized. So then these bone spurs are grown and stones are grown throughout your body. Arthritis. Adrenal gland weakness must also be present for arthritis. Connective tissue weakness causing prolapse conditions, dropping of the skin, the bladder, the uterus, the bowels, and other organs. Varicose veins and spider veins, hemorrhoids, depression, nerve weakness, spasms, cramping of muscles, convulsions, dehydration, rigid, brittle, or weakened fingernails, anemia. Low calcium causes poor iron utilization as well. Scoliosis, ruptured discs, hernias, aneurysms, and mitral valve prolapse, your heart. You can have heart attacks because your thyroid, or your parathyroids, are so congested that it cannot function in producing enough of the parathyroid hormone for calcium utilization. So because of the lack in calcium, your organs are weak, and being the pump it is, the heart works so hard constantly with every heartbeat that would then be one of the first organs that gives in if there's not enough calcium around to rebuild these cells. So just to put things a little bit in perspective, the adrenals produce enzymes for the utilization of up to 52 known minerals known by man. This includes iron, manganese, magnesium, copper, selenium, like name it. There's like a list of 52. The thyroid plays a more important role in temperature regulation to bring about the necessary environment for transmutation to take place between the enzymes and digestive process, etc. And then the parathyroids have this huge job of producing enough parathyroid hormone for calcium utilization. So that would give you an idea of where you're sitting when you have malfunctioning thyroid, parathyroid. How can you test if you have a low functioning thyroid? If you have access to one of those old school thermometers that has the mercury in it, the night before you go to bed, you shake it down and you sleep, and without moving anything. You want to move as little as possible when you wake up. You take the thermometer and put it under your arm, and you keep it there for 10 minutes. Put the timer on for 10 minutes. When you got, that's basically recording your base temperature. When your base temperature is 36.6 or lower, you're actually sitting with a low functioning thyroid. The lower it is, the lower functioning thyroid you have. When you have 36.8 or higher, you might have a hyper functioning thyroid, which is probably a better one to have, but still a sick one. So in this case, your thyroid is so congested that it's pushed into overstimulating itself, and because of this overstimulation, at some point it will then start failing. So either hypo or hyper, it's not a situation where you just want to make peace with. You want to heal it, you want to bring it into balance. The beauty of hyperthyroidism is that you have very strong teeth and bones and skin and everything, because you are actually producing enough of the parathyroid hormone. So why would your glands be malfunctioning? In general, why would anything, let's start with in general, why would anything in your body malfunction? Not just the glands, anything in your body, why would it malfunction? Because it is congested, it is smothered. It is smothered to the point where it cannot receive nutrients, cannot receive the oxygen or the minerals or the food it actually needs. The blood can't reach it properly. And its wastes are not removed. These are the two main huge functions that every cell in the body need. Our whole body exists of cells and only cells. There's nothing else in the body but cells, except maybe your chemistry like water and a few other chemistry that is not bonded to cells yet or on its way out of the body. That makes up about 1% of the fluids in the body. You've got 100% fluid in the body. About 80% of the fluids in your body are made up by lymphatic fluid. This is the plasma see-through kind of snot you experience, either in zits or coming from your cavities, being coughed out. It is healthy when it is flowy and see-through, and it's slimy in a way. You can skid on it if you want to imagine that. It is not a sticky thing. That's the first level of lymphatic. This is, you still don't want too much of this in your body, but at least you want first level of congestion. Second level of congestion is when it goes yellow. So you can see it in the eyes. If the eyes have yellow in it, it is actually yellow lymph, which shows you where your lymph is congested to the second level. So this is not a slimy thing anymore. This is now a sticky substance. So every level it would deteriorate further. It dehydrates, so it becomes more sticky. The third level is when it goes into brown, and this is where you get your dry snot. So just as you get your dry snot in your nose, imagine if your whole body all the cells in your body are surrounded by dry snot. This is really not a cool thing. This is starting, when you pick up your hand and it hurts over in your chest and you're not sure what's going on. It's because it's all stuck together. It's not flowy anymore. It's now stuck together. So now you're almost ripping it when you're actually moving too much, So, and then the fourth level of deterioration is when it goes black, when it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. You need to hydrate it back to existence in a way. So the main purpose of this lymphatic fluid in the body is to remove the metabolic waste of 100 trillion cells. So every cell in my body eats like I do and poops like I do. This is what everything in this planet works like that. The moment there is chemical transmutation that happens, there is a waste product. And most of the time, this waste product is very low on the pH scale, 3 or lower, and it burns. Acids with the pH of that 3 and lower burns. If you keep Coca-Cola in your mouth, you can feel how it burns the membranes of your mouth. So if you are in a situation where you have a thick and sticky lymphatic fluid that is surrounding your whole body, it's a systemic situation, the acids it contains in that fluid literally burns the cells it comes into contact with, which is where the weakening of cells come from. Eventually, when this acidic fluid permeates the cell wall and enters the cell, and the acidity is now in the cell, this is what is called a cancer cell. It's not something foreign that is happening to you. It is actually your cultivation of your lymphatic fluid that has gotten to the stage where it's so acidic that it has now permeated the membranes of your cells. Your own cells are now a dying acidic cell, and this is called a cancer cell, which is not something we want to kill. We don't want to. What do we do when a baby is ill? You feed it, or when a human is ill, you feed it and give it nutrients and pamper it until it's better. You don't throw poison on it and want it to die and just evaporate. You actually want it to heal, right? So the body will heal it by either expelling it and replacing it, or then regenerating it. For a cell to regenerate, what does it need? It needs oxygen, nutrients. This comes through the blood. It needs its waste to be removed successfully, which is picked up by the lymph and eliminated by our elimination organs. And it needs the nerve to function well in the cell and around the cell, to function well, so that it can bring about the changes that is needed when changes are needed in our body. And change is constant in our body especially as well. So lymphatic fluid, yes. So why is it malfunctioning? Because Why? Let's use an example of adrenals. Why will my adrenals not be functioning? Because inside, around every cell of this adrenal, it is surrounded by the lymphatic fluid, which is not a healthy lymphatic fluid. So now the adrenal cells is inhibited to actually function. Some of the times it becomes so dehydrated in an acidic environment that everything sticks together. So now you might have 20 cells sticking together where it shouldn't be sticking together. They all should be floating separately. And when nutrients come around, the nutrients stick together, and cells can't eat a structure of nutrients. It needs to have a nutrient loose by itself to actually utilize it and make it part of its constituency. So acidic environment is the ideal place to breed disease and illness. And this is why there's this world of diseases out there which actually doesn't exist, because all diseases comes from a sticky lymphatic fluid that is not leaving the body successfully. So how does this fluid become this way? You might have been born with elimination organs that didn't work already. You might have been born with kidneys, skin, bowel, lungs that has not been in a filtering position, because that's what you received in your genes. Because of this, the lymph is actually not successfully leaving the body, or only maybe 20% of the lymph is leaving the body. And slowly but surely, simply the metabolic waste of your cells is building up this acids in this lymphatic fluid that is not leaving the body. And it's building and building. And over time, it becomes such an acidic and dehydrated mass that it actually starts burning your cells, which makes certain organs and tissue then start deteriorating, weakening and breaking. Of course, the weaker parts of your body which show the first signs of this, again, this boils down to your genetic weaknesses. So that's why not everyone breaks down in a similar way. We literally break down according to our weaknesses. This is one reason why your lymphatic fluid could get to the stage where it's so congested that it renders your glands not to function well. Another thing that builds up this acids in the lymphatic fluid is digestive ash and acidic digestive process. So let's talk about the process first. The acidic digestive process happens when you eat complex food. So this is anything like cooked food you couldn't have eaten raw, something you have to cook to eat it, like potatoes, rice, grains, some pumpkins, your legumes, your beans, all these kind of things in their dormant forms. Anything you have to cook to be able to eat it is a complex structure. Meat is a complex structure. All your dairy, complex sugar, complex fats, all of these are complex structures. So the moment you eat a complex structure, your acidic digestive process has to be instigated. So this is your stomach that produces acids, and your pancreas, your small intestines, and your liver has to play roles producing certain elements to combat the acids again, and to just actually be able to make use of the nutrients that is nestled in this complex structure. There's no two ways about it. There are nutrients in these complex structure, but it's a very expensive way to get to it, to instigate the acidic digestive process. The alkaline digestive process is when the enzymes in your spit is breaking down the plant material, your raw fruits and vegetables. And that's it. Your stomach is holding back for the process to continue, and it is absorbed through your bowel wall and intestinal wall and goes into the system. Much cheaper way of bringing sustenance into the body, losing much less energy as well. And this acids that's produced by your own organs are now acids that's contributing to the acidity of the lymphatic fluid. Then there's another thing. Raw fruits and vegetables leave an alkaline ash. Even the acidic fruits, after digestion, they leave an alkaline ash, which means the minerals, the things that wasn't fuel, that wasn't digested into fuel, the minerals that is in that substance is an alkaline mineral, and it doesn't acidify your inner environment. Complex structure food has an acid ash. So if you look at meat, it's probably the biggest culprit. It has probably 9 to 11 very acidic waste products that happens after digestion of meat. And this is now, especially if your elimination organs are not working, it is pushed into the lymphatic fluid, further acidifying the lymphatic fluid. So this is the main reason why anything in your body breaks. is this lymphatic situation with the elimination situation that is not functioning well. It is just not working, it is not eliminated as it should, and it's becoming more and more congested as you continue your life and the way you live. Another reason why thyroid and parathyroid specifically deteriorates, biggest culprit is milk, dairy, that actually goes through, it's the highest inflammatory food on the planet, dairy. And you can't get away from that. Yes, some Maasai lives on milk and blood, and the reason they live till they're old is because they don't live on McDonald's and Joburg Air. So there are reasons why they grow to a full age while they still live on things like blood and milk. But this is not disqualifying the fact that milk is the highest inflammatory food on this planet. So if your doctor still prescribes milk, he does not get something, and you must change doctors. So this is one of the big reasons why thyroid and parathyroid are heavily broken down and congested and acidifies because of dairy. The second thing would be the removal of tonsils. Why? So the removal of tonsils has an effect on your top 3 glands, your thyroid, parathyroid, pineal gland, and your pituitary gland. Firstly, because it doesn't eliminate the headspace as well as it would have if it was there. So now the lymph in your headspace is actually more so congested than it would have been if you had your tonsils. So you can see it very clear in the iris of people's eyes. If when their headspace is congested, it's the first thing I ask is, do you have your tonsils? The other reason, our body is created in such a cool way that we've got these lymph nodes around our neck and ears in our neck, and it would have gone very neatly to the tonsils, and we have this lymph nodes going down here, and very neatly our body would have drained acidic acidic wastes coming from the headspace. But now what happens? The tonsils are not there. So now it becomes a waterfall wherever your body finds the waterfall to work best. Some people clearly have the waterfall down here. Their thyroid and parathyroid is shot. Other people have the waterfalls coming down here, so they have stiff necks. They have deteriorating, what do you call it? Rugstring, bones in the neck and the back that starts deteriorating because of this acidic waterfall that comes down now instead of this neat stream. So this is another reason why this is weak. And then, of course, your genetic weakness. You could have received a very weakened thyroid and parathyroid from either one of your parents or both because of their situation and them not having healed it in their lifetime before they conceived you. At the moment of conception is when genetics are determined for the next generation. So if you are able to decongest completely and regenerate yourself on a cellular level, you will be able to produce a child that has almost no genetic weaknesses. And then that would actually render the child the possibility of reaching the age of much higher than 100, especially if they stick to the cellular regeneration protocol that I will be introducing to you right now as part of the solution. So now you know where the thyroid fits in, where the endocrine system fits in, the chemistry and why the importance. We've heard the what could happen in your body if you have weakened thyroid and parathyroid. We run through the malfunctioning reasons of it now. How do you solve it? What is the solution? So in a nutshell, you eat only fruits. So there's a whole science behind it that you really can get into. It boils down to the fact that our anatomy is equal to the anatomy of frugivores. We don't look like cows, we don't look like sheep, we don't look like elephant, we don't look like lions or leopards, we don't look like dogs or chicken. We are not omnivores, we are not herbivores, we are not carnivores. We are built on the anatomy of the frugivores out there. That's the first and foremost explanation. Why, when we revert to fruits only, our body heals, because our body has been designed for this diet. The reason why vegetables doesn't play such a huge role in our healing, when I say it like this, it still does play a role, the same way herbs plays a role. It should not be consumed daily. It should not be our chronic food. It should not be our chronic sustenance. Bringing it in as a treatment to help you with certain things, like for instance, this is one of the the herbal formulas. There's two actually that I have designed to really support the adrenal and thyroids and the skin and thyroid. As you can see there, this is two of my herbal teas. I've also designed a gland support tea that I don't have in stock right now, that has been designed to support the healing of the glands. These teas will not heal your glands. What will be healing your glands is when you eat only fruits. These teas help you through the healing process, because we go through quite a healing process where we have fluctuating energy that these teas really help a lot with. We've got people with such low functioning thyroid or parathyroid and the adrenals, that it really helps them to have herbs that supports the healing of these faster. Another substitute that we use to help the glands really heal, especially if they're in a really, really bad state, is to use the dissected animal glands, preferably of organic cows. You use the dissected glands of cows. So you'll use the dissected adrenals or dissected thyroid or dissected parathyroid of cows. Rather cows than pigs, and there's big reasons for that. But find yourself a glandular, they call it a glandular. We don't want to use the glandular constantly. This will really have detrimental effects. It doesn't work on chemistry, it works on physics. So it basically the cells magnetize themselves to their own type. So the glandulars that you consume would go through the digestive process and actually be magnetized to the adrenal cells because of physics, electromagnetism. It's not a chemistry that happens here, it's physics. So it will be magnetized to it and sort of imprints its memory onto it, sort of helping the adrenal cells to remember their functionality, and thereby hopefully shot back into to functioning better. So we subscribe using it for a month and then stopping to use it for at least 3 months if you have to use it again for another month, and then eventually not use it at all as your adrenals and your thyroid or whichever gland then heals, because you are eating only fruits. One of the main reasons also why eating only fruits help your body to regenerate so well is because it uses so little digestive energy to actually utilize the fruits and bring it into your body as a sustenance, so that energy that you save is now being able to spend on regeneration. So just that deficit of energy being spent on regeneration already see you healing way before your kidneys are filtering. And really only when your kidneys are filtering the lymphatic fluid, that's when the next level of healing kicks in. How do you know if your kidneys are filtering? You check it. You urinate in a glass jar first thing in the morning. You keep the glass jar up against the source of light within the first hour, half an hour to an hour. After you just allow it to settle, you urinate, allow it to settle for a few minutes. Pick it up without shaking it in front of a source of light. You need to see your lymph in your urine. If you can't see anything, if the substance is like an apple juice, a clear apple juice, your lymph is not filtering. Your kidneys are not filtering your lymph. You need to see either fluke-like lymph that looks like snotty parts, or grains lying in the bottom of the jar, or a cloudiness, a murkiness in your urine that tells you your lymph is in there. When we get to the point when we're healing, we want to see up to a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of lymph in your urine. I've only met 2, maybe I've met 3 people now whose kidneys was filtering when I met them. So this is quite a human condition we have post-World War, 3rd, 4th, 5th generation post-World War, where high protein, high processed, high dairy, high sugar diets stepped in, our box diets stepped in, and we are literally harvesting the fruits of that. So most of us are sitting in a place where our kidneys are not filtering our lymphatic fluid, and even if the kidneys are able to filter it, the lymphatic fluid is not being able to be filtered because it's so dehydrated and sticky. It is not actually reaching the kidneys successfully. So there's that double-sided thing. And because fruits and veggies are alkaline, so both of them will help you to alkalize your body. The difference would be that fruit has a stringency factor to it that veggies doesn't have. fruit has, you know, when you eat lemons, how your mouth like sort of pulls together. Now that is the proof of the astringency of the lemons, and lemons probably being the strongest astringent fruit out there. But most fruits have levels of astringency to it. So by eating it, you're actually pulling on the lymph, and this really helps with the movement of the lymph and the changing of the lymph to a substance that is better usable for the body and positive for the body to actually eliminate the waste of your digestive process and of your metabolic waste of your cells, and actually eliminating successfully to the outside world. So I facilitate programs online to help people to get their head around this whole protocol, get into it, feeling it, seeing the results. And then I believe that my 28-day detox and workshop program really is a good introduction for people. They have 28 days of digesting the information in bite-sized sections. You know, I share a lot of information. You plug into this for 250 Rand a month. This is the special that's still running for the next 2 months. When the new season starts in September, it's going to double up to 500. I really need to put a consultation call in there, and it just takes so much of my time to connect with everyone, and I need to do this. I want to do this. So I'm going to up it to 500 Rand soon, so that I can easily bring in the consultation call and not steal time from my homeschooled children. So I hope everyone can understand that. But for that money, you plug into the online facilitation process. In this time, I teach you everything I know. I teach you ways to self-analyze yourself. The kidney, the urine test would be one. The temperature test would be one. There's 2 others I introduce you to, iridology being one of them. And the other one is analyzing your blood pressure, so you actually know what it tells you, and as you go through your healing event, see how the blood pressure change, and this tells you something as well. And with my experience, I'm able to help you to translate this. I do iridology readings for those people that are interested. Although I do introduce you to this science, it is quite an intricate science, and it sometimes helps to hear it from someone with the experience. So I do iridology readings for people online as well. You send me a picture, I chart your picture, and I send you a voice recording with the analysis. Then up and coming is our solstice to solstice detox. This is our step up, our epic 6 months detox, where we take people through the whole process, but in a much slower and more focused way. So the first month we focus totally on the elimination process. The second month we focus on the utilization process, which is where the thyroids will come in. The third month we look at the absorption process. The fourth month the digestion process. The fifth month we look at lymphatic drainage, which also includes your heavy metal and chemical deposit removals. And then the sixth month we look at brain, nerve and circulation regeneration. So this is a whole 6-month immersion where you can really give yourself such a beautiful reset. I've immersed myself to now, since 2018, 3 years. Every year I would immerse myself for between 4 to 6 months on eating fruit only. I've healed amazing things. I saw how my healing, I felt and saw in my eyes how my healing has taken place. I am ready for at least 3 more to really get myself to the place where I want to be. To give an idea of the timeline of healing, we are quite in a diseased state as a human species because of our lifestyles and our choice of energy. Where we live, many places where we live are too cold for us to have access to fruits. So there's all these things that plays a role. As we wake up to our conditions though, and we come to be introduced to this very simple way of healing, where you actually just need access to fruits, and you replace all your sustenance by eating fruits. Yes, you're going to receive all the amino acids you need. You don't need protein, you need amino acids. And an apple would have been a blob if it didn't have amino acids. So you will get all your amino acids from your fruits. You get all your fatty acids from your fruits. There will be a time when you will possibly lack in certain minerals more so than you've done before, according to mainstream medicine tests, because what do? They test for the minerals in your blood. So yes, take some supplements and they're happy because they pick it up in your blood. But in the meantime, we've learned now that if you can't utilize these minerals, it does not become part of your body. You will still be deficient in these minerals. So when you start going onto fruits, you decongest de-inflate, de-stimulate all your organs and glands. So before you start with fruit, you are running on a stimulated adrenal function. So there's more of this enzymes out there because it's a stimulated adrenal that's pushing in its red for you to have enough of these enzymes. When you deflate and destimulate this adrenal, you will be in a place where you now actually have less of this chemistry present in your body, which is why we use our magic functional teas that's got up to 11 herbs in them sometimes. Is really designed to help you through the healing process, filling these cavities so that it supports the adrenals to heal faster. And every day that adrenal is healing, it will start producing more and more and more of the enzymes, the hormones, the steroids, the neurotransmitters you need. And you will get to that place where you are fully regenerated. You are not deficient in anything. Your hormones is in perfect homeostasis. Your enzymes is enough. You're not deficient of anything. Your neurotransmitters are enough. You actually have a blood pressure that shows this as well. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I feel I've shared with you what I know on that topic to a degree. There's much more detail when you zoom into the different organs, into the different chemistries, into the different functions. It's just our body is so intricate. It is literally a lifelong study. But this is the main things I believe you need as entry level to understand, sort of get your head around this, see it in context, understand why certain things, and then big part of it is realize the solution. Actually signing up for one of my detoxes or getting yourself some more research done, doing it by yourself, which I did. I didn't have anyone to facilitate me. In the facilitations, I introduce you to my mentor, Dr. Robert Morse. You can go find him on YouTube. He's got thousands of hours of video material that you can work through in your own time. He is an angel that is just, he connected he made the connection between the lymphatic system and the kidneys, which you will not find in a mainstream medicine textbook. And because of that connection, he started understanding the art of healing. And this is the name of his school, The Art of Healing. He's got an online school. I'm an avid student of his work. He is not the only one pioneering fruits to heal, though. We've got Marianne Scherer. We've got people right through for days, for ages, telling us that fruit is the way to heal. He is very present online, though, and he has the science behind it. He's been busy with this for 50 years plus, and he's got the evidence and science behind it. So it really helps so much to have his presence on this planet, have his education in our veins. And this is all a product of his work as well. When I came across him in 2018, I was already detoxing for 5 years, I thought. I went through many liver flushes and kidney flushes and lung cleanses and all these very natural ways I found online, parasite cleanses, to actually detox. And when I came across him, I was listening so intently to his understanding of the human body. I was so happy to meet him because he resonated with so much that I learned over the last 11 years that I immersed myself before then in the alternative healing world. And then he told me I had to eat fruits. I cried. I was so angry at him because everything I learned told me the opposite, you know. I needed my proteins, I needed my fats, I needed all these things I was taught that I need. I need all my minerals. And I immersed myself the first 4 months in a fruit diet to prove him wrong. And oh boy, was I proven wrong. I detoxed in that 4 months way more than I detoxed in the 5 years before then. I had cups of mucus coming out of my body. I had clarity of mind that I've never experienced before. And what's so lovely with each of these detoxes is you heal so much in such an immersion that for your body to build back to the state where you were before the immersion would absolutely take years. And this is the beauty of it. So every immersion sets you up on a new level of life. It's like jumping a level in a game. You know, if you look at this life on this planet as a game, it's literally jumping a level. And you're actually at this place where you're functioning better. And even if you deviate from the fruits, there is slight interferences, I must agree. There is levels of energy that you lose again, levels of clarity that you lose, but never to where you were. before. Well, I can't say never. Over years you will be there again, but not as quick not quickly at all. And then the next year you immerse yourself again and you jump another level. You know, when you get to the 6th week of eating fruits, no one can pay you to eat something else. You are running on such a high. There is something like healing events. Some people call it healing crises. You must be aware of this. This is your underlying diseases leaving your body because you are detoxing. So they are sort of manifesting. They are showing you're going to look ill to some people. It's going to look like you've got bladder infection. It's going to look like you've got bronchitis. It's going to look like you've got pneumonia. It's going to, you know, things are going to give you the signs that you are ill, but you're not. Not when you're eating fruits and you're detoxing. What is happening is your lymph is on the move, containing all of this acidicness. And when that acid is on the move and it's leaving your body, it has to leave your body somehow. It can't just evaporate into nothingness. It's going to leave via coughing mucus. It's going to leave with mucus discharges from all your cavities. You know, sometimes it's going to hurt and burn. The people with chronic bladder infections really go through a very uncomfortable stage when they detox because it burns. It is so close to the kidneys that unfortunately there's not enough lymph nodes to change the pH of the lymphatic fluid before it reaches the kidneys and the bladder. So it's quite acidic in the kidneys and bladder as it is leaving, and that burns. And the first thing people want to do is they want to grab for their antibiotics or whatever because they're scared it develops into an infection. But when you stick to fruits, you cannot go into an infection. You cannot go into it. This is the way to get rid of tumors. This is the way to heal cancers. This is the way to get out of wheelchairs. This is the way to heal. It is the simplest truth I've ever come across. Anyone can do it with or without someone supporting them, as long as their mind can take it and their mind doesn't revert back to the previous knowledge they have of certain conditions happening in their body. Wrapping this up, it was lovely connecting with all of you. Really hope to meet you physically sometime down the line. We'll have a few more talks in Gauteng happening, and then we'll have a Lekker KZN tour. And early next year, we're working on a Cape Town tour, or at least a Cape tour. So the idea really is to meet people face to face, to spend some time together, to dish out hugs and receive some hugs, and just to be crazy enough together to do this fruit thing and to heal, you know, creating an alkaline society where our acidic emotions like anger and jealousy and impatience just simply won't exist, you know, and we will be an alkaline people, where we have time and space for ourselves, and for each other, and build a better space, you know, that we can live with our beautiful alkaline nature in peace and not bring the acidity to nature like we do at the moment, the way our society is structured. So may this be a small step for mankind in the right direction, with everybody healing and alkalizing and building an alkaline body. It's a completely different thing than an acid body. And on fruits, you can choose who you look like. You can look slender like a monkey or bulk up like a gorilla, you know. There's no limits to it. And we do love our veggies. We bring it in as treatments, as medicine that we use every now and then for the purpose it provides. But it's not the food that we were designed to eat on a daily basis. And even our beloved greens will bring damage to our body if we continuously eat it and out of balance with fruits. When you do eat your fruits, make sure to not combine it with other foods. Always eat your fruits by yourself. Always eat your melons by itself. Don't even mix your melons with other fruits. It digests too fast, and then because it's combined with other food, it will ferment, and fermentation feeds the fungi, which is your friends if you eat the food that needs friends to deal with the food. If you eat food that doesn't bring fermentation or putrefaction, the bacteria and fungi will start dying out and leave your body, as with the parasites. So we do use the herbs to help our body to get rid of these, which is a big element of the detoxing process, is to go through a good 6 months to 8 months to 10 months of using antiparasitic herbs while we try to stay as close to an alkaline diet as possible, preferably a fruit diet. And that is the only way you can really guarantee yourself getting rid of parasites. If you are worried about your heavy metals, your chemical deposits, this will leave your body with the lymph leaving your body. So you really only need to focus on getting the lymph to move, getting the kidneys, the skin and the bowel, and the lungs where necessary to excrete the lymph successfully, and then thereby rendering yourself healthy with regenerated cells and dynamic energy. How exciting. So that's me, over and out. Have it good out there, guys. Work hard on your healing, and I really hope to connect with many of you, helping you to facilitate this online for you as you go, as you get your head around this and immerse yourself in the world of fruits. Bye-bye.